Happy last day of winter. It is the last day of meteorological winter in 2021. Thank goodness we're coming out the other end of this. We know that the pandemic has affected everyone in different ways. The patient that we're about to see here, when we last caught up with her, she had just moved into her dream condo apartment, and she talks a little bit about that today and how the pandemic has affected things there. So enjoy the video, and I'm gonna take my pup for a walk.
It just had
Very dry skin is what it is.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, so lotion on this skin. It's just so dry. Now that we're coming to the end of winter though, and the air becomes a little more humid,
Yeah.
it won't be as big a problem. But now, can you reach down to lotion your feet?
Well, see, that's the problem I've been having. And right now I'm in the market. I'm trying to find someone who sells those, like a Q-tip, but it has a very long stick on it.
Okay, or can I give you another suggestion for getting the lotion on? Do you have one of those grabber things for getting things off a high shelf?
Yeah.
So if you take a little piece of sponge, just like dishwashing sponge, and designate that as your lotion sponge, then you can put the lotion on the sponge and use that grabber to get it down onto your feet.
You know, that's pretty simple thinking outside the box. I don't know why that didn't occur to me, because using the, as you can obviously see, the use of the Vicks has been very sporadic, because I cannot seem to, my back just isn't, it's continuing to do its hereditary age-related degenerative
Yeah.
thing, and I think I've tried putting my foot up on something, and I just can't tolerate it. So
Yes, just use that grabber, or very long barbecue tongs or something. You know, not that you would have a barbecue where you're
no,
living,
but I might have more control over those, because I use the Q-tips to do the Vicks applications, because that way I only put a clean end in the Vicks jar, and I don't contaminate the jar. And that's when I started thinking about if I just had a what do you call it? A longer stick on the cotton swab. But maybe that idea of using the, because I've got some of those things, like if you were gonna turn shrimp, that you put it in to bake, and then you want to turn it over.
Yeah.
And there's one that has a real long handle on it, and the rubber coated ends, and so that I might have more dexterity and be able to hold the. Boy, I can't believe I couldn't figure that out.
You know what though? It's not something you think about every day. It's like I do. So I have that conversation at least a couple times a day with people.
Oh, do you?
Oh yeah. And so
the age-old, you rarely have a non-universal problem as a person. You know, in other words.
Right.
Well, that's a big mess, isn't it?
No, it'll be fine.
And I thought those were the better toes, but this is trying to lift off. And
Let's move over to the fungus. The fungus is actually in the nail plate, but the debris is the dead skin and the byproducts from the fungus that sit underneath the nail.
Oh.
So, you know, like this stuff is just mostly like dead skin cells.
Well, I used to have a little plastic formed stool about this high
Uh-huh.
that I used in the old apartment in the bathroom because you could, in front of the toilet, but there's not room for it in this new bathroom in front of my feet. And now my back is in a whole different situation than it was when I was living. And, well, I shouldn't have said that, I guess.
That's fine.
Anyway, after trying to pack up and the move itself, and then what you're dealing with when you get to the new place, and you know, stuff doesn't fit and all that. Well,
Right.
But anyway, Anne had the bright idea that she would apply to be my essential caregiver because those people have been allowed to come in for 2 hours on certain days and certain times, but now they've opened it that essential caregivers can come during business hours and come as often and I think it's still stays, so that we were interrupted in our big plans to organize and throw out before we ever tried to pack for me to go over there. And then we were interrupted again when we got over there and just got started, and then nobody could come in the building anymore. So, because I moved in January.
Well, last time I saw you, you were really happy with your move.
Oh yeah, I was thrilled. And then somebody, during that COVID thing, they were delivering all the meals. You couldn't, of course.
Right, you had to stay in your apartment.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a little wound from just from the nail rubbing up against the skin.
Oh.
It'll be fine now that we've got the piece of nail off the top of it.
But anyway, one of those people delivering the meal, even though I had a nice little pathway from the door to the counter and a space on the kitchen counter where they could set down the styrofoam box of food, and I had a pin for them there to mark off the meal ticket. And one of those people, I have a feeling who it was because of knowing her, just the personality, and she was always angry at all kinds of things, and so I think she probably didn't like having to pay attention to where she was walking, and she went downstairs and blasted the director of the department about how she didn't want to deliver stuff in my apartment because it was too crowded. And I thought to myself, well, that's interesting. Because what happens is that if somebody has fallen asleep and doesn't happen to answer, and you never knew in a 2-hour period when your meal was going to be delivered because they alternated where they started, or which was good, but I would keep falling asleep in the lift chair. And so they give them pass keys, and they would just open the door after like 2 seconds after they knocked and go in and want to leave it. And that's fine with me. It can always be reheated, but
That she complained that you were a hoarder?
oh, I don't know what was said exactly. All I know is that the building manager just called and said that there had been not a complaint, but a comment that the director of dietary had relayed to her, and that it was too crowded. And I said, well, I'm up, not unpacked. And my sister hadn't been able to help because of the COVID. And so then she said, is there a clear pathway between the front door and the front window? And in the one bedroom, is there the same thing? And I said, well, certainly not in the bedroom, which I don't go sleep in because it's full of boxes. And it was to be the staging area. And so then she started worrying about fire hazard, which was valid, of course, because she said if they have to come up and try to get in to get somebody out the window, of course they have to have space to walk through. So, and in the living room, everything was against that wall out about this far. And then there's just enough room for me to negotiate. And then here are these 2 lift chairs. The cat uses one to get up high to see out the window. Always did at the other place, and it's soft and comfy. And he lays there with his 2 back legs out like a dog does in the back. That's snazzy because he's a tuxedo cat. He looks pretty snazzy in his tuxedo and white shirt and spats, white spats. But anyhow.
So did they stop delivering dinner?
So then I convinced her that she didn't need to come up and look at it because she'd faint in the hall, or or who knows. I was afraid I'd lose the place, but and I convinced her that her executive director, I gotta quit using it.
I'll edit that out.
Yeah, but anyway, any identifying information.
Yeah.
He didn't either. Well, then they all got real busy with COVID stuff, and my sister said to me, you can't keep adding this kind of stress to your system. And of course she's dead right, but I was scared to death they were going to try a surprise visit or something.
Oh.
These are about all I've been wearing that have the strap and the,
Okay.
but they still make all those, I don't know what you call them, calluses or.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get those in just a minute here. So I'm dying to know, so did they stop bringing your food or what?
Oh, no, I quit, I didn't want anybody in there at all, and so I told them, and so what would happen is when Ann went to the grocery store, she would get some stuff, and then they were allowed to bring it to the front door, and then there's this little foyer-like thing between the outside door and the inside door, and they kept a basket there and let people
Drop stuff off for their people?
Yeah, and
So she would drop your stuff and you'd have to go down pick it up?
Yeah, and of course, I'm, you know, Byerly's has, if you dab off all the dressing and stuff, they have real good chunks of chicken in with sour cherries and walnuts and.
Oh, the salad, the cold, yeah.
And then wild rice, it's a cold salad, it's really good, wild rice and.
You know, their salads just always taste way too salty for me.
What?
Their salads, their cold deli salad stuff.
Yeah.
Always, it's way too salty for me.
Yeah, but it helps if you, because I usually just put black pepper on stuff. But if you dump it out on a large paper plate and spread it out, and then I just use paper towels and blot most of it off, and that takes a lot of it.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't need all that dressing and stuff. That they don't use the good varieties or the low.
Right, a low fat and.
Yeah. But the meat doesn't have gristle in it. It doesn't have fat in it. Their chicken is really, you know, good.
Sure, they use all those rotisserie chickens that didn't sell the day before.
Oh, that's why.
I assume.
I'll bet, that's right. Those are cute glasses with your haircut.
Thank you.
The looks like a fun day out in the wind and breeze, and the colors kind of.
Well, I figure if you gotta wear cheaters, you might as well have fun with them, yeah?
Yeah, but it telegraphs those. I don't know why that looks like that to me. Just, you know, upbeat, happy, breezy day in the spring. You got to be outside.
Now, what cream or lotion are you putting on when you eventually get to it? What do you have at home?
What did you say? What?
What cream or lotion are you using on your feet when you finally get around to it?
Well, I've got Aveeno.
Okay.
I've got what's that other one?
All right, anything around that price point is good.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, you gotta get it on here, because this is just all really dry.
Okay, so I've got to.
Gotta make sure that you get lotion on there every day.
Oh.
All right, I'm just gonna smooth it down a little bit here.
Yeah. It looks like I better get some kind of a terry cloth like scuff in Walmart or someplace, so that I can put the lotion on, but then when I put my foot down, it'll be in something that can absorb it, and that might just leave.
Right, or you just sit for 5 minutes and wait for it to absorb. You could do that too.
Okay, but see, I was trying not to wear any flip-flops.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what I used to put on to let the Vicks absorb. But they have those ones that have just a band across your foot, so I'll try to find some of those.
Well, thank you for letting us do the video.
Oh, sure.
And I'm glad you got your meal thing hammered out.
Yeah, and so anyway.
Yeah, and we'll see you back in, let's go 2 months this time,
Okay.
instead of 8. All right.
Yeah, to say the least.